Most people already know about the official OpenCore Legacy Patcher. But very few people know that there's also a modified and experimental version called OpenCore Mod. So what exactly is this mod? OpenCore Mod is an experimental and unofficial tool, designed to help install newer versions of macOS on unsupported Macs, even earlier than the official release. But here's the real question. What does it really change? Can it unlock macOS Tahoe on unsupported Macs? Can it fix the Wi-Fi and graphics acceleration issues that many users experience on unsupported Macs running macOS Tahoe with OpenCore Legacy Patcher 3.0.0? And most importantly, is it actually safe, or is it just another risky experiment? Let's find out. As I mentioned earlier, OpenCore Mod is an unofficial version of OpenCore Legacy Patcher, modified by a Chinese developer, known as LaoBamac. At the time of recording this video, the current version is 3.1.5. First, we'll download the app, then, we'll compare it with the OpenCore Legacy Patcher 2.5.0 and the upcoming 3.0.0 version, which is specifically built for macOS Tahoe support. After that, we'll test it on our unsupported Mac running macOS Tahoe to see whether it can successfully restore Wi-Fi and GPU acceleration. So let's start by downloading the OpenCore Mod app. The download process is exactly the same as the official OpenCore Legacy Patcher. There's no difference at all. Once the download is complete, I'll install it on my Mac and walk you through the next steps. This is a MacBook Pro 2015 base model, and I installed macOS Tahoe on it using OpenCore Legacy Patcher version 3.0.0. Everything works: keyboard, trackpad, USB and Thunderbolt ports, but Wi-Fi and graphics acceleration are missing. So let's see whether OpenCore Mod can bring these back to my unsupported Mac or not. Go to the Applications folder to launch the app. The first thing you'll notice is that the app icon looks almost the same as OpenCore Legacy Patcher. This is OpenCore Mod, and this is the official OpenCore Legacy Patcher app. Let's open OpenCore Mod. As soon as the app launches, you'll notice two things. First, the interface language is Chinese. Second, it looks almost identical to older OpenCore versions, like 2.4.1 or 2.5.0. Here's a side-by-side comparison of both apps. If we compare this to OpenCore version 3.0, which introduced Tahoe support for unsupported Macs, version 3.0 looks noticeably cleaner and more modern than the Mod app. Let me quickly walk you through the interface so you don't get confused. This is the Build and Install OpenCore button. This is the Post-Install Root Patch button. This is the Create macOS Installer button. And these are the Support and Settings buttons. You'll also notice two additional buttons. One is for downloading KDK. The other is for downloading MetalLib. I'll be covering these features in detail in just a moment, but first, let's click on the Settings button and open the Root Patching section, because this is where the app introduces some additional features. Now let me show you both tools side by side. Here is the OpenCore Mod app, and here is the original OpenCore Legacy Patcher app. As you can see, OCLP Mod includes extra options, such as a sound patcher for macOS Tahoe, a USB patcher for macOS Tahoe, and even an option to install the Legacy Launchpad app on Tahoe. These features are currently not available in the official OpenCore app. We'll test the post-install root patcher shortly. But before that, let me show you a few more additional features. If I click on the Create macOS Installer button, you'll notice two extra options in the Mod version. When we compare this to the original OpenCore app, the official version only allows you to download the macOS installer, or use an existing installer in standard .app format. However, OCLP Mod also gives you the option to download a macOS installer in DMG format, and create a bootable USB directly from that DMG file. It's important to note that both DMG-related features are not fully operational within the app at this time. The DMG download button currently does not work, and to flash a DMG file onto a USB drive, you will still need to use an external tool like Balena Etcher. This clearly shows that OpenCore Mod is still under development, and some of its features, especially the DMG flashing tool, are not fully implemented yet. So now you should have a clear understanding of what this app offers, and what it doesn't. Anyway, let's move on and check the post-install root patch button. Here, the app offers me some patches, and the good news is that I can install them. If I compare it to the original OpenCore app, there's an unsupported OS message and a grayed out button. The patchers include Wi-Fi, audio, and FaceTime camera patches. Let's install them first. Let's reboot. After reboot, let's check the Wi-Fi adapter first. And no, it's still not working. Let's open the app again and check the root patcher button. Now it's not offering anything. Instead, it says that the root patcher is already installed and the root directory is not clean. If I want to reinstall the patches, I first need to revert back, and then proceed with the installation again. So, the problem is still not fixed. Now let's check the KDK and MetalLib section. First, I click the KDK button. This opens the Kernel Debug Kit Download Manager. Let me explain this window, since it's in Chinese, and can be difficult for most people to understand. This is the name KDK Download Manager. This message asks you to select the version of the KDK from this list, according to your macOS version. The list contains versions, from the latest macOS Tahoe 26.3, down to macOS 13. This button shows the current download source, which is GitHub. If your download is slow, or the server is too busy, you can switch to a different server. Click the Source Change button to see two additional options, both of which are Chinese servers. You can select one of these servers to download the KDK file. This button refreshes the list below. If there is any new update or change, it will be displayed after refreshing. At the bottom, there are two important buttons. This button copies the link of your selected file to your clipboard. For example, if I want to download the macOS Tahoe 26.3 KDK file, I select it and press this button. Now the Tahoe KDK download link is copied to my clipboard. I can paste this link into my download manager and download the file outside of this application. And this button downloads the selected KDK file directly to your computer. So I hope the new KDK section is explained clearly. Now the MetalLib button does the same. If you click the MetalLib button, this window appears. This is the name of this window. This message asks you to select the MetalLib file from the list, according to your macOS version. Unfortunately, we don't have any MetalLib file available for macOS Tahoe, which is really disappointing. Your current source is displayed here. You can change the source from this button. Refresh the list from here. And just like the KDK window, you can copy the download link from this button. Or download the MetalLib file directly from this button. Now let me talk about something very serious that I noticed, and I strongly believe this is a bug. After installing root patches and restarting my Mac, it automatically logs in without asking for a password. No login screen appears. It's very strange. I tested this 4 times. I logged out, shut down the Mac completely, and turned it on again. Same result. Auto login is still turned off in settings. I tested this on 2 different computers, and both had the same issue. If any of you have experienced this, please let me know in the comments. Anyway, now the bottom line, do I recommend this or not? Personally, I do not recommend this for a couple of reasons. And the biggest reason isn't that it didn't work for me. The biggest reason is the developer's own message written on the GitHub page. He clearly said, this project had previously entered maintenance mode, meaning it was no longer expected to receive new updates or feature improvements. The developer mentioned that due to a lack of time, they had decided to stop actively working on it and focus on other projects. In simple terms, the project was considered discontinued. However, that announcement is actually old. As far as I remember, that message was posted after version 3.1.4. Surprisingly, just 3 days ago, the developer released a new update, version 3.1.5, along with a new message. So at this point, it's honestly unclear whether the project will continue to receive regular feature updates or not. Even the long-term direction of the app seems uncertain. I decided to make this video because many of my subscribers kept messaging me and asking about this app, and I wanted to give you a clear and honest overview of its current situation. I hope I explained everything clearly, and now you fully understand what OpenCore Mod is, what it does, and whether we should use it or not. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.